All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Off the Cuff with Adam Banks live stream. And you can tune in to the regular broadcast live at 4 on the radio, or you can watch it on the Facebook Live. It's up to you, however you want to do it. I always recommend people listen to the show, listen to the audio, because it just comes across better. It comes across more listenable. There's a lot more... So I play a lot of audio clips. So he really can't hear those on the Facebook Live. So it's always just better to listen on the radio because you can hear the clips that I play. But it's up to you. I mean, we're living in a world where people like to see things now. Personally, I love to see things, but I still like to listen to things too, because you can do other things. Clean your house, mow your grass, run, whatever it is. Whoa. Hey, Val, what's up? Okay, let's see if I can get this fixed. How are you? Hopefully things are going good your way. Here's my water. I don't know why I'm drinking so much water before I have to go in the air. I already have to pee, so it's already making me pee anyway, more. I'm glad to have you back on the show thread. That's pretty cool. You've been putting up garden vegetables. That is something that I've always envied. I've always wanted to be able to just garden, but I can't. But he who says he can and he who says he can't are both usually right. So what's my excuse? I think that I could probably do it if I knew exactly how to do it. But some people have a natural act for it. They can just throw anything in the ground and just out sprouts up the most beautiful crop you've ever seen. You still got about, a good month of good summer weather, and then you'll have to start. I don't know what the cleanup looks like for going from summer to fall for a garden. I'm assuming there's some steps that you have to do to your crops. All right, we got 60 seconds. Oh, well, thank you. My teeth? I appreciate that. You know what's funny? My dentist said that the last time I was there, he said that my teeth look better than they ever have. I only brush twice a day. That's my secret. I don't floss. I know that's pretty gross, but I don't floss. Flossing has just never been a part of my routine. However, I do brush. Sometimes I brush more than 2 times a day because I don't know. It grosses me out when people have bad teeth. It's okay if you have crooked teeth. It's okay if you have ugly teeth. Just take care of the teeth you got. Just take care of the teeth you got. All right, here we go. I don't know what that is. I swear,
The views
I
expressed
thought there
on
was a
this
call
program
coming
are
in.
not necessarily the views of Lexington Community Radio or its board of directors. The views expressed are solely those of the programmers.
You are listening to Off the Cuff. Now, here's your host, Adam Banks.
Welcome everybody to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks coming at you live from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening on the radio, you can check out our Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you could stream the show live from the station website at radiolex.us. I am broadcasting from the Deborah Hensley Studios here at Radio Lex on North Limestone. It is August the 15th, 2024. Back to school. I know I've been harping on it for the last couple of weeks. Everybody has been complaining about going back to school. And I think what it is, school for me started this week. And I think what I have when it comes to back to school anxiety is I think it's just anticipation anxiety. Because once I get started, once I get my feet wet and I walk through the door, I'm good. It's just the anticipation of leading up to school starting, I think, is what bothers me. But now that school is officially back in, I am good. But this is the time of year when I become really, really busy. But hey, busy is good. I'm just kicking myself over the last couple of months complaining about how bored I was over the summer. But I guess that's why they say you can't have what you always want, or you want what you can't have. But I want to start off the show talking about an article that I read that come across that I seen on the internet, and people were talking about some things that most common people just call simple tasks. But when you actually start doing those tasks, you realize very, very quickly that the task that you're doing is not simple at all. So this article, people are revealing the simple common things that are actually way more harder to deal with than they seem. So people shared in some of those tasks. So you tell me on the show thread if you agree with any of these simple common tasks. For instance, putting a fitted sheet on the bed. Let's be honest, I don't know why those things are so difficult to put on. Can anybody do those correctly? Why don't they just label on the corner of those sheets of where on the bed it should go? The left top here, the bottom right here, instead of just having it be a free-for-all and the whole time me having to adjust the sheet across the bed the entire time I'm trying to fit it on the mattress. Sounds like a simple task, right? Putting a sheet on a bed, but it's actually not. Another person writes, moving to a new place. I have to agree with that. Moving is exciting in a lot of ways. It sounds exciting, but when you really start to do it and you have to look at the logistics and the loneliness and the adjustment period, it takes a while and it takes a toll on you. Your everyday is affected when you move because you live at this place every single day. And yes, it sounds exciting in the moment, but once you're settled in, now what? So make sure that you really want to move when you do. But moving, yes, it seems like an easy task, but man, there's a lot that goes into it. You have to change your address on every document that you own. It's a hassle. Working in retail, another person writes, I've worked in retail before. Oh, there couldn't be a more truer statement than that. Yes, it sounds simple. It sounds relaxing, right? Working in retail, greeting customers, folding clothes, putting it back where it needs to go. There's more that meets the eye when it comes to working in retail. I don't know if anybody listening right now has ever worked in retail. It's really difficult to work in retail. For instance, you got to deal with a lot of Karens in retail. So Bubby's shirt didn't fit right. Sissy's skirt is too short. There's a lot of things that people will come at you with retail. So working in retail is very, very difficult. They used to put me in the dressing rooms and had me work the dressing rooms. They didn't like me at the register for some reason. I don't know. I think it's just because they could see how much I would stress out over having to deal with these moms. Another person writes, navigating adult friendships seems to be like it'd be an easy task, but it's actually not. It actually really is hard to maintain friendships as adults because life gets in the way. Everybody's schedule is different. Everybody's got different things going on when you're an adult, and everybody's just walking down different paths. So it's very rare when you can meet up and actually spend some time together that accommodates everybody. Another person writes, just working 40 hours a week and trying to be present for your family. I would say that's pretty tough. Getting a new job is difficult. Yes, I don't think there's anything really more that takes a toll on your mental health than getting a new job, because talk about your everyday changing, because we spend half of our life at work. So if you change that where you're going to work every day, it can be really difficult. It seems like it'd be an easy process, start a new job, go on about your business, but it's actually pretty daggone tough. Another person writes, and I'm going over a list here of things that things that seem simple, tasks that seem simple, but people are calling them way harder. Another person writes, managing your mental health. Yes, that is a lifelong journey, I feel like. I don't think that we ever figure out exactly how to manage mental health. I think we're constantly learning how to manage our mental health because there's so many different things that get thrown at us every single day that's different. It's hard to just have a book to go by and to know exactly how to deal with each situation. Another person writes, people assume that forgiving someone is easy, but it's actually not. Absolutely. It's easy to think that you can just walk up to somebody and say, I'm sorry. But have you ever actually tried to do that? Have you ever actually had to go up and apologize to somebody? It takes a lot for somebody to do that. Now, when somebody apologizes to me and they mean it and it's sincere, I always appreciate it. I really, really do. And I tell them that. I always say, I appreciate your apology. I know that was really hard for you to do. But that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be friends with them again. You can always forgive and just say, I forgive you, now move along. But even getting the words out, I'm sorry, can be very difficult. Easier said than done. Another person writes, getting a puppy seems easy, but it's actually not. I know that I don't have a puppy. I don't have a dog. I haven't had one in years. But I know that it's more difficult than what it seems because I've watched other people deal with puppies and they use the bathroom everywhere. You've got to get flea shots, all kinds of stuff, worm shots. You got to deal with them eating your furniture, scratching your floors. You got to deal with the dog hair. There's a lot of things about a puppy that's not easy, but it seems easy. People just think, oh, I'm going to get a puppy. They're cuddly. They're sweet. There's somebody that I can play with. There's somebody that I can run around the yard with, somebody that'll keep me company, until you actually get the dog. And then you realize how tough it really is. Another person says leaving an abusive relationship, or actually just, leaving abusive people, period. So I definitely sympathize with people that are in situations where they're having to deal with abusive people. It's hard enough just to accept the fact that somebody you trusted and once loved is now abusing you. But it's another thing to actually try to escape them. You don't know what that person's actually going through. You don't know the threats that that person has received. You don't know the situation that that person is in. Do they have kids? Are they financially able to leave that abusive marriage and make it? Because once you leave that abusive marriage, yeah, you're not getting abused anymore, but you've got a whole other slew of problems that you have to manage that you didn't have to worry about before because you were with that abusive person that took care of those things. So it's easier said than done. Now, I don't condone staying in an abusive relationship, but I can see where it is harder than what people think. Some people say that canceling a membership or subscription seems like an easy task, but it is not. That is for sure. They make you go, it's very easy just to be able to click on a subscription and sign up for something. And then you can't just click to unsubscribe. You have to go through a bunch of hoops. And lastly, keeping plants alive seems like an easy task, but it's not. Absolutely. I've had several plants that I've tried to keep and water and maintain, but they die on me. And I don't understand exactly why that happens. Oh, finally, last of all, here's one more. Cutting off toxic people. Yes, that can be hard because a lot of times some of those toxic people can actually be your friends. Some of those toxic people can actually be your family members. That doesn't mean, just because somebody in your life is toxic and they're toxic to you, that doesn't mean necessarily that they don't love you. So it's hard to cut off somebody that is toxic because you care immensely about that person too. But you are better off in the end by cutting the toxic person off because it just makes your life even better. But it's easier said than done. You have to deal with the awkward conversation of cutting them off. You have to deal with the awkward maybe ghosting them altogether just to get them out of your life. So it is easier said than done. I have had people in my life that were toxic and I did not know how to get rid of them. And sometimes it's just all a matter of just pulling off the Band-Aid. But there are a lot of things out there that just seem simple. And there's a lot of tasks out there that just seem simple, but they're actually way more harder to deal with than they seem. And those are just a few that people were saying. But folks, we have a great show ahead of you today. You are listening to Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. Stick with us. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm Sly Guy from Sly's Nude Essentials, located in the Julietta Market at Gray Line Station on the corner of Loudon and Lime. You are listening to Radio Lex, the voice of the people. WLXU 93.9 LP FM Lexington.
Radio Lex only exists in our community because of the generosity of supporting members like Viva Stewart. Thank you for your ongoing commitment to the voice of the people. To learn how you can become a supporting member, visit radiolex.us/donate.
Which way are you going? If you don't use your turn signals, no one knows. Don't expect other drivers to read your mind.
Absolutely.
Use your turn signals at all intersections.
Absolutely, Nikki, I agree.
Change lanes, and any other time you need other drivers to know your intentions. Make turn signals a habit. And if you're not sure...
It is hard not to be an enabler. That's very true.
This is Paul Island with Road.
Let's go places safely, Lexington. I'm Sue from Toyota, reminding Kate what you are doing on the road. Make eye contact with other drivers at intersections to avoid confusion and crashes. Stay right, except when passing, and yield to drivers merging into your lane. Together, car and truck drivers can make our roads safer for everyone.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. The VMA nominations were announced last week on August 6th, as a matter of fact. The VMAs are set for Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. So still a little bit away until the VMAs. Ariana Grande, who I have came into this segment playing in the background, was nominated for 6 VMA awards. 6. Not bad for an actress turned singer. Many people don't know that Ariana Grande used to be an actress before she was a singer. And it's hard to imagine that because Ariana Grande is one of the biggest singers in the world. She is just another example of a teen pop starlet to just shake off her innocent roots, because she was on that Nickelodeon show, Victorious, I believe is what it was, and then she was also in a show called Sam and Cat. So she was on Nickelodeon for years before she had a recording contract. And on this show before, folks, I have talked about successful musicians that turned into actors. And you can listen to that in our archives. We talked about that March of last year. Well, today on the show, I would like to flip-flop that topic and talk about successful actors that turned into musicians, like Ariana Grande, for instance. She is just one example of many people throughout the entertainment industry who has shaken off their acting roots and have crossed over into being a musician. So I have created a list here of some successful actors, people who were already successful as actors who transitioned over to being a musician. Ariana Grande is one of them. But what about my girl Jennifer Lopez? A lot of people forget that she was actually Yes, I love that. A lot of people forget that Jennifer Lopez was actually a actor before she turned into a musician. I mean, ain't you seen Selena when she portrayed the famous Spanish woman who died in 95 from a tragic murder? But yes, Jennifer Lopez did movies before she went into singing. And Jennifer Lopez, she still does movies. She does more movies than I would say music these days, but she went into music and had a very successful career in music. She started off as an actor on the TV show In Living Color, and then she went on to do Selena, and then she transitioned into music and had #1 hit after hit after hit after hit. So J-Lo is a very successful actor turned musician. So what do you like her better as? Do you like J-Lo better as a actress, or do you like her better as a musician? I mean, I think she's got bangers. This one is definitely a banger. Jenny from the Block. She had a great Super Bowl performance where she did a whole set of some of her biggest hits, and it just made me forget of how good and how big of a star she was as a singer. Okay, next up on my list as a successful actor turned into a musician is Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan, of course, was an actress on many movies like Freaky Friday, Mean Girls, but then she transitioned over to music and she created a pop album. This is one of her biggest hits. It's called Rumor. And this song, or Rumors, this song addresses the paparazzi because she was a big paparazzi person back in the day. People used to love following her around, taking pictures of her. Lindsay Lohan, she kind of just quit doing music altogether. She's went back into acting. She hit her peak, though. she hit her peak in the mid-2000s. Unfortunately, she let the drugs and the partying and the irresponsibility of herself get in the way, and her acting career kind of flopped. But at one point in time, she had a very thriving music career. Okay, next on my list as a successful actor turning into a musician is Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx, of course, was a great actor on movies like Ray, where he portrayed Ray Charles. But then he showed off his musical skills at around the 2006 mark, where he would release songs like Gold Digger with Kanye West. And then in 2009, he came out with this song, Blame It on the Alcohol, which is one of the biggest songs of the decade. Jamie Foxx is good at both. Very successful actor. I love the movie he is in, Law Abiding Citizen, where he plays the lawyer that is trying to help or trying to prosecute this guy who's actually, you're rooting for in the movie, the guy he's trying to prosecute, you're actually rooting for the guy he's trying to prosecute. But it's a great movie. And usually Jamie Foxx does great movies, and he's proven that his movies can be successful. But Jamie Foxx is not only just a successful actor, he transitioned and had a very successful music career. Okay, next on my list as a successful actor turned into a musician would be Hilary Duff. Hilary Duff was an actress on the television show The Lizzie McGuire Show, and she ended up dabbling in music by creating an album of her own. This is one of her biggest hits. It's called So Yesterday, but she also recorded songs like So Clean, which was the theme song for the hit reality show Laguna Beach back in the early 2000s. I mean, she really was on top of the teen world for a while, because she had not only successful TV shows and movies, but a very thriving music career. And then, not to mention, after music, she went on to do her own clothing line. It's funny how those things go hand in hand sometimes, how actors always want to sing and singers always want to act. And it don't always work, but it did for Hilary Duff. Okay, coming up next on my list, folks, as a successful actor turned into a musician, is your boy Drake. Some people might not know that before Drake was at the top of his rap game, he used to be an actor. And he started off his show, he started off on a show called Degrassi, and he played a guy who got shot and became wheelchair bound. And he took his success from that TV show Degrassi and transitioned into music and ended up becoming one of the biggest rappers in the game today. So this song is very fitting. It's called Started from the Bottom. And that's exactly where he did start. He started from the bottom, became an actor, and then transitioned into a very successful musician. You know, it's funny that there are probably people out there that don't listen to rap music. They're not into the rap scene. So they only know Drake from Degrassi. They only know him from the TV show. They only know him as an actor. But most people know Drake as a musician. But that's not how he started out, folks. That's not how he started out. He started out as a actor. For instance, last year on the show, we were talking about singers that turned into actors. Will Smith was somebody very successful that made that transition. He was a rapper and then transitioned into acting. Well, Drake is like the opposite of Will Smith. He was a successful actor and then transitioned into a very successful musician. Okay, next on my list of some of the most successful actors that turned into musicians is Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus did not start off her career as a singer. She started off her career, folks, as an actress. And she started off her career acting on the television show Hannah Montana, which was a huge hit in the mid-2000s. I don't think you could have got bigger than Miley Cyrus during that time. Now, of course, the show was about her being a pop star, which made it very easy for her to cross into that world because she used her platform of Hannah Montana and created a whole concert out of it. And then she had her own solo music career because people were already used to hearing Miley sing. It was already obvious that she had a really good voice. And thank God that she did transition into music because Miley Cyrus is one of my favorite female musicians. I don't think that you can replicate a voice like Miley Cyrus. I love her voice. I love her attitude. I love her charisma. I love her stage presence. She's good. She's good at what she does. If I had to choose Miley to do movies or Miley to sing, Miley, you're going to have to stay in the music world. Don't go back to acting. I'm cool with it if you do both, but as long as it don't hurt your musical career. Okay, folks, next on my list, of course, is one of the queens of pop, Janet Jackson. Before Janet Jackson turned into the legendary R&B queen that she is, Janet Jackson got her start on the 1970s sitcom Good Times and on the television version of the Fame reboot. She was able to flaunt her singing on those platforms, which made it easier for her to transition into music, and it didn't hurt her that her brother was the king of pop, Michael Jackson. But don't take anything away from Janet's music. It was great. Okay, next up on my list as one of the next on my list as a successful actor that turned into a musician is Donald Glover, also known as Childish Gambino. He was a very successful actor on shows like Atlanta, but he really found his passion with rapping. Now, he still goes back and forth, acting, movies. Oh, he's probably, I would say, 50-50 at this point. But before he got into music, he had starring roles on sitcoms like 30 Rock, and then he was cast as a character named Troy on the network cult hit comedy Community. And then he went on to do Atlanta. But he became very successful when he dabbled into music. And folks, there have been several other successful actors that turned into musicians. For instance, Jared Leto, William Shatner, Jack Black, Keanu Reeves, Jeff Bridges, Demi Lovato, Gwyneth Paltrow, Ryan Gosling, Kevin Costner, Michael Cera, Billy Bob Thornton, Johnny Depp, Joe Pesci. So many that I could have played as clips, but for the sake of time, I'll have to cut it off there. But I feel like the ones that I mentioned are some of the biggest actors that transitioned into music and had a very successful career. It's hard to do. A lot of people want to do that. Not everybody can do that. And you know it's got to hurt their ego when you're really good at something like acting and you want to do music and you can't, and vice versa. It's like athletes. A lot of football players want to go and be rappers, but they can't rap. And you know that hurts their ego because they're one of the best in the world at the sport that they play, but they can't do what they want, which is rap. So my hat goes off to those who made that transition. And that, folks, is just a few of the successful actors that turned into musicians. I hope you enjoyed that. So finally got to flip-flop that topic. Last year we talked about successful singers that turned into actors. Well, today on the show I wanted to talk about successful actors that turned into musicians. And if I left any off the list, please feel free to put them on the show thread. But folks, we still have lots more off the cuff with Adam Banks coming at you live after these words. Stick with us. We will be right back.
This is the JT from the Radio Lex from the Success Academy, the voice of the people, WLXU 93.9 LPFM. Like to take your touch.
Let's go places safely, Lexington. Which way are you going? If you don't use your turn signals, no one knows. Don't expect other drivers to read your mind. Use your turn signals at intersections, when you change lanes, and any other time you need other drivers to know your intentions. Make turn signals a habit, and if you're not sure, use them. Hi, I'm Bev from Toyota, reminding you that turn signals are how you communicate safely on the road.
Hey, Sky, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully you're doing good.
Think globally. Listen locally. Radio Lex is committed to local programming of all kinds. Local news coverage, locally curated music, discussion of local issues, local perspectives on international affairs, and special local events. We come to you 24/7 in English on WLXU 93.9 FM and in Spanish on WLXL 95.7 FM. It takes a great community to make great community radio. We can't do it without you. Support the voice of the people today. Visit radiolex.us/donate and support Lexington's community radio right now.
The African American barbershop has historical and cultural significance, making it more than just a place for a haircut. The objective of the PR Health Barbershop Initiative is to mitigate health risks faced by African American communities, including higher rates of asthma, cancer, COVID, diabetes, heart disease, influenza and pneumonia, mental health, opioid and tobacco cessation, stroke, suicide, and HIV/AIDS. This effort is brought to you by PR Health, an initiative of Project Ricochet. And the Barber Academy. Dre's Barbershop in Julietta Market. Custom Cuts Barbershop. Business of Barbering Institute. UK Healthcare Pharmacy Services. KAHP WUKY. And Radio Lex.
Radio Lex only exists in our community because of the generosity of supporting members like Lauren Gothra. Thank you for your ongoing commitment to the voice of the people. To learn how you can become a supporting member, visit radiolex.us/donate.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. It's ironic that I started the show off talking about being stressed and having a lot going on, because today's national holiday is National Relaxation Day. Today is supposed to be the day that you set aside to relax, become stress-free, let go of your problems. That's what today is set aside to do. And folks, that is so true. Sometimes you have to stop and smell the roses, because life can get real busy. Life can become very hectic. And sometimes we forget to look around and realize how beautiful things actually are, because we get lost in the chaos of all of our busyness. relaxation has so many benefits, and it really helps you to avoid burnout if you relax. So it's something that everybody should take into consideration, and especially today on National Relaxation Day. The idea of relaxation, folks, came in the year 1920 when a man named Dr. Edmund Jacobson published his medical book, Progressive Relaxation. And that's when relaxation even was coined as a term. That's when it was even really, it became a thing. I love it when people say that they're just going to use the day to relax. Well, if you really are using that day to relax, I love that if you're doing that, because we all need a day to relax. And when I say relax, that doesn't necessarily mean kick your feet up and not do anything. You can relax by doing things that you enjoy. That might be going to an amusement park. That might be going to a swimming pool. That might be going to a ball game. Yes, those things sound very tiresome, but if it relaxes you, if it makes you feel good, if it helps with your mental health, and it gets you out of your funk, that's relaxing your mind, that's relaxing your body. It's a misconception to think relaxing is just laying around. I don't think that's good for anybody. Relaxing is just taking it easy, letting it go, chilling, doing what you enjoy. In 1986, don't you remember the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off? He epitomized how important it was just to kind of stop and smell the roses. He takes it easy in that movie by skipping school and just enjoying the day. If you haven't seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, it's a cult classic that everyone should see, because it really just embodies how relaxation takes care of our mental health and how everybody should stop and just look around sometimes. Because you know what? Ferris Bueller said it best. If you don't stop and look around, it'll pass you by. And then you'll realize what in the heck happened. Alex Harwell patents the modern stress ball in 1988, which is the stress ball is something that's supposed to help us relax. It's supposed to help alleviate stress. I like the stress ball. What it is, the idea of a stress ball is just to be able to constantly do something with your hands. That's what a stress ball is. In 2009, Micah releases the hit single Relax, Take It Easy, which is what we just played. Great song, and it's another thing that just reminds you just to take it easy and relax. So how do you know that you're stressed out? Well, if you have disturbing sleep patterns, if you have a loss of appetite, if you find yourself frequently zoning out or panicking, those are just some telltale signs that you are stressed out and you probably need to relax. There are 5 emotional signs of stress: depression, anxiety, anger, restlessness, and irritability. Those are the major emotion signs of stress. So if you find yourself having any of those, it's probably because you're stressed out and you need to relax. So what better day to do that on than today? Some National Relaxation Day activities is you could discover a more laid-back activity. My suggestion would be do something that you enjoy. You could help someone else relax. You can help someone else relax by inviting them over and having a cup of coffee with you. Maybe a soothing cup of coffee and a good conversation would help somebody relax. You can make a relaxation schedule. Maybe treat yourself to some relaxing tasks like meditation or massages. There's a lot of things that you could do. There are some fun facts about relaxing. Relaxing obviously is healthy. It says here that music soothes us. It says that a study reported that 40% of people that don't take time out for relaxing, while 45% of people just don't know how to relax. That's one thing too. Some people want to relax, they just don't know how to relax. Relaxation is classified under 3 categories: physical, mental, and transcendental. You should stay relaxed but focused. Just take a minute or 2 of relaxing between tasks. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed, just take a minute or 2 just to stand back, relax, and that will help with your focus and concentration. Sometimes we don't take a second just to step back from the situation. So relaxing is very important. And what better day to practice that than today? National Relaxation Day. But with that being said, folks, how about a little Song of the Week break? And today's Song of the Week break comes from Shabuzi with the hit song A Bar Song, which is the #1 song on the Billboard charts right now. So relax, roll down them windows, listen to this tune, and we'll be back after the song.
My baby born a Birkin.
Oh, very nice. Shabuzi, yes. Was he as good as he is on studio records live? Man, he has really come out big with this song, I'm telling you. I just love the vibe of the song. The 2024 Summer Olympics wraps up in Paris, France. The games officially began back in July and ran until last week in August. And folks, the United States does it again. They win the Olympics. I updated you guys last week on where we stood in the Olympics, but now that the Olympics is over, I have the final standings of the Olympic table. I love watching the Olympics this year. You get to watch many different sports that you're not used to watching and you don't get to watch every day. But here is the top 10 countries that finished in the Olympics and their gold and their amount of gold medals won. But first, let's start with the #1 country in the world. They, of course, dominated at the Olympics with 40 gold medals, 44 silver, and 42 bronze, with a total of 126 medals. Yes, let's go USA. China comes in #2 with 40 gold medals. Japan comes in 3 with 20. And Australia comes in 4 with 18 gold medals. France comes in at 5 with 16. Netherlands with 15. Great Britain with 14. South Korea with 13. #9 is Italy with 12 medals. And Germany at #10 with 12 gold medals as well. So yes, United States dominates again. I loved watching the basketball game this year. We just dominate in basketball. We always dominate basketball. It really is embarrassing when we lose at the Olympics in basketball. It's not happened much, but we really do have such talent in this nation of basketball players. We won. The USA dominated again in the basketball version of the Olympics. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a 3-on-3 basketball tournament in the Olympics, but there is. And I enjoyed the swimming, I enjoyed the archery, I enjoyed just a little bit of everything when it come to watching the Olympics. So many fun games. I used to have a Olympics video game growing up, so I was introduced to a lot of Olympic games from that game. So it was cool actually getting to see live versions of the games being played. But that, folks, was the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris, France, and there is a bow officially tied around this year's Olympics. But folks, we still have one more segment to go. Stick with us. We will be right back.
We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Radio Lex has the support of Kentucky Utilities, lge-ku.com. Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Last segment of the hour. The Reds are one game under 500. 60-61 is their record. Right when you think the Reds are out of it and you think their season is over and they don't stand a chance, here they come prowling back to just being one under 500. And folks, it's very important to make it to at least 500 at this point in the season, because you have a chance to play for a wild card spot for the World Series. The Reds, everyone who listens to this show knows that's my favorite baseball team. Baseball is still in full swing. It is the summertime still, so very hopeful to watch the Reds the remaining of the season if they can keep this up. Their next game is tomorrow against the Kansas City Royals. There's also this Pete Rose documentary that has been posted to Netflix, and I got a chance to watch a little of it the other day, and it has been very fascinating to watch. Pete Rose, one of the best baseball players to ever play, was a very controversial figure. He bet on baseball, and because of it, he was banned from the game. He was not allowed to be involved in the game anymore, and he was banned from being in the Hall of Fame, which is crazy to think that the MLB Hall of Fame does not have Pete Rose in there because he bet on baseball. Now, he has been adamant, and his story has never changed. Pete Rose said that he never bet against his team. So what that tells me is, yes, he bet on Reds games, but he never did bet against the Reds. And to me, honestly, that's not a big deal if you bet on your team to win. If you're playing for a team or managing a team and you bet on them to win, how is that bad? I get it, though. You got to draw a line somewhere. No betting on baseball if you're involved in the MLB. I get it. But I'm pretty sure that owners are involved in baseball. If you own a baseball team, I'd call that being involved. Did you know that they can bet on baseball games? The owners can? But Pete Rose, back when he supposedly, according to the documentary, I didn't realize this, but he was a manager when he was doing his baseball betting. He wasn't playing. So he was managing the team, but he was betting on his team to win. So I just don't think there's anything wrong with it. But hey, maybe I'm just a little salty that one of the best Reds of all time is not in the Hall of Fame. But that documentary is pretty fascinating. He's a very controversial figure. Pete Rose is a man's man. And that is one documentary that baseball fans must watch. He was such a successful player. I mean, he had a total of 4,256 hits as a baseball player. He played 3,562 games at bat. He won 3 World Series, 3 batting titles. He won Most Valuable Player. He's got 2 Gold Gloves and the Rookie of the Year award. His record speaks for itself. His accomplishments speak for themselves. But Pete Rose definitely is one of the best baseball players of all time. And folks, on this show before, I've shared with you my personal opinion of who I think the greatest of all time is in certain sports. For instance, I went over my top favorite NBA players of all time, or my top 5 college football coaches of all time. But I've never really ranked my personal top 5 baseball players of all time, and I'd like to do that now. Here is my Adam Banks' opinion of my personal top 5 baseball players to ever play the game. Babe Ruth is number 1, of course. I think it would be universal to say that Babe Ruth is the best baseball player to ever play the game. He is a 1-time MVP, he is a 2-time All-Star, and he is a 7-time World Series winner. Barry Bonds would make my list at number 2. Don't you remember Barry Bonds in the late 90s, early 2000s? A lot of people said he was the second coming of Babe Ruth. 12. He's got 7 MVPs, 14 All-Stars, 12 Silver Slugger, and 8 Gold Glove awards. Amazing to think about that. Number 3 on my list of one of the best baseball players of all time is Willie Mays, who just recently passed. He won a World Series, got the Gold Glove 12 times, MVP 2 times. Willie Mays, one of the most recognizable names in the history of baseball. And the man lived to be like 90-something years old, in his 90s. You don't really hear of athletes living that long, which is odd, if you ask me, that athletes don't live long, because aren't athletes supposed to be some of the most healthiest people in the world? They're constantly working out, constantly eating right. So it's very rare when you hear of an athlete living up until their 90s because of the wear and tear they put on their bodies. But Willie Mays did that. Number 4 on my list, and folks, I'm going to have to say it's Pete Rose. And number 5, I'm going to put another red on my list, and that's Ken Griffey Jr. Never won a World Series, but he definitely had the stats to back it up. He is the kid that changed baseball forever. He had such swagger. He was one of the best hitters to ever play. He could hit for average and for power, and he had the prettiest swing in the history of the sport. He was known as just a defensive center, and he was right up there with Willie Mays as being one of the best. And if I had to put an honorable mention in there, it would be Mickey Mantle, and he was played for the Yankees, and he was one of the first 3 Yankees, and he's such a legend, won 7 World Series, MVP 3 times. So if I wasn't a Reds fan, I would probably have put Mickey Mantle over Ken Griffey Jr., but because I'm a Reds fan, I needed to put him in there. Elaine on the show thread says Hank Aaron should be on the list. Also, Hank Aaron was a fantastic baseball player, but I'll throw him in there for you as number 7 on my list. But that, folks, is just my personal top 5 baseball players of all time. Let's go Reds. Hopefully they can figure something out, get above 500, and go on and win a World Series. It's been since 1990 since we've won the World Series, which at this point is ridiculous. 34 years, folks. 34 years. We're the laughing stock of Major League Baseball. Now, White Sox is making us look pretty good right now with the record and the year they've had this year. But overall, if we're looking at the last 34 years, the Reds hasn't done anything. As a fan, the most exciting Red season that I remember watching, and I've been a fan for 20 years, the most exciting Red season that I ever remember in my last 20 years was last year when we went on the big 14-15 game winning streak. That's sad, folks, that is my most exciting season as a Reds fan in the last 20 years. So, give me a playoff game. Give me a playoff game to go to so I can watch. And give me a World Series, for crying out loud. I think Reds fans deserve it. at this point. But ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much going to put a bow on this week's episode of Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. If you like what you heard today, you'll probably like our previous episodes. We put all episodes on podcast. You can find the podcast, Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, or wherever you stream your favorite podcast. You can follow the show on social media at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. You can follow me, the host, on social media at The Adam Banks. We release new episodes every Thursday from 4 to 5 right here on WLXU at 93.9 FM, which means we will be back same time, same place. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Adam Banks, and this is Off the Cuff. I am the King of Radio, and I will see you next week. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for listening. Oh, Derek Jeter he was good, but I didn't like him. See you guys next week.